If you are not lowballing motivated sellers in 2026, you are going to stay broke. You are not going to make money. It is actually a fundamental requirement in wholesaling real estate that you lowball, because if you do not lowball, you do not make money. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to lowball a motivated seller and actually get them to want to accept it. Actually say, yes, I'll accept your lowball offer so you can make $50,000 wholesaling real estate. That is what we're going to share today, and that's what exactly you're going to know step by step. I'm going to give you my exact scripts, tips, and tricks on how you can lowball motivated sellers in 2026. Now, fundamentally, we have to understand, why in the world do we lowball sellers? Okay? Well, I'll be honest with you, okay? The main reason why we lowball sellers is because if you don't lowball sellers, you don't make money. The point of wholesaling real estate is the value of a house is here, okay? The value. Let's say the value of a house is $200,000, okay? That is the value if you throw it on the MLS, you use a realtor, it'll sell for $200,000, let's just say this house. Now, a cash buyer is willing to buy this house. If he has to throw it in the market, he would probably buy it for around $175,000. Now, why in the world would a cash buyer want to buy it for $175,000? Because at minimum, 10% of the home, when you sell in the MLS, goes to realtors and fees and doc stamps and title. So if a cash buyer at break even basically buys this house for $175,000, puts it on the market for $200,000, he'll make a little bit of a profit, nothing too crazy. So understand that cash buyers buy for a discount. And us wholesalers, we will try to lock up the deal for maybe, let's say, $150,000, right? Us wholesaler, and we are just making our $25K assignment fee. We want our little check. We're all super happy about it, and we are very happy. That is legitimately what we do. So in wholesaling real estate, fundamentally what we do is we lock up the property for a discount and basically sell it for a discount also. So the way I like to describe this is, in wholesaling, we lock up the property for a deep discount, and then we sell it for a discount. This is exactly what Costco does, all right? They will get a product for a deep discount and then sell it to you for a good discount. Not a deep discount, but for a discount. And that is exactly what we do in wholesaling. So fundamentally, if a property is worth $200 and it is at $150, we want to lock it up, we have to fundamentally lowball. If we don't lowball, and let's say we lock up the property for $180, a cash buyer's not going to buy it from us. We're going to make no money. And if we offered them $170, the seller's going to be like, well, that's a little low. Well, if they're already going to think it's low, why don't we just offer $120, $130 for the house? What they do is they negotiate. This is how wholesaling real estate works with negotiations. You might start the offer. Let's change the color. So if I'm talking to a motivated seller and they say they want to sell the house for $200, say I can't do that price. What price can you do? And I would say, probably around $120,000. Now at this point, the seller has some choices. They could say, no, I don't want to go with you, which is fine, go with a realtor, but you're talking to me as a cash buyer on purpose because you don't want to use a realtor. They're like, yeah, that's true. So if they want $200 and you're at $120, how about we do this magical thing called splitting the difference, where we just say, okay, how about we just meet in the middle? And we meet at the middle at around $160,000. Guess what? That would yield me, if I lock it up for $160 and I sell it for $175, that would yield me a $15,000 assignment fee. I am not going to say no to a $15,000 check. See, the point of lowballing, the point of going for the no, is not so we instantly go out here and get it accepted. The point is, we do such a lowball offer that they're like, I need to get a win here. And they're at this price. It's just reasonable to split it down the middle. Now, could you imagine if, let's say, I offered $160,000 off the bat and they were at $200? Meeting in the middle there would be, guess what? $180,000, which would be no deal. No cash buyer will buy that deal. So you understand that at worst, if you're going to meet in the middle, you'd rather meet in the middle on a crazy lowball offer. That is exactly how you do it. Now, the real $1 million question here is, how do we pitch a lowball offer? How do we make sure it actually gets accepted so the seller's actually, yes, I will sell for a lowball offer? Well, this is just one of them right here, which is you get the price out of them first. This is like what I call like the price first method. Hey, do you know how much you want to sell the property for? Do you have a ballpark range? They might say some stupid, crazy, high offer, Cheech and Chong, Bob Marley, crazy high number, when in reality, that's just where they're starting. See, most sellers will maybe say a crazy number. Now, what I have always learned and what I've always seen from doing over 4,000 wholesaling deals is if they're at a crazy high number, the only way you fight crazy is with crazy. And in actuality, you're going to have to fight crazy with crazier. So if they're crazy high, I'm gonna go crazy low. That is how the game works. And then we meet in the middle and we're all happy. See, here's the thing. In wholesaling, everyone points the finger at me and says, oh, you lowball, 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 lowball. And you're pointing at me like I'm some crazy bad guy. When in reality, okay, I'm lowballing you. But what are you doing, motivated seller? We already, guess what the motivated seller's doing? They're what I call highballing you. See, I am giving you a crazy low offer in my best interest. But guess what the motivated seller is doing? They're going to highball me. They're gonna give a crazy high number in their best interest to protect their interests. So this is what negotiations are all about. So if they're crazy on their high number and I'm just giving like a regular fair offer, guess what? They're going to negotiate and go closer to their crazy offer. So this is how the game works. So if they're crazy high, I go crazy low, and I go even crazier on my low. So when we meet in the middle, I can make some money. This is just how psychology and human nature works. So first method is if you ask them what offer they're at and it's a crazy high number or just really any number at all, we're gonna go give them a crazy low offer. And the way I describe it is 200, I don't think I can even do that. I mean, what's your best price? And they say, I'm like, well, if I'm gonna buy this, I mean, I would wanna be around 120,000. Then they're either gonna say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you're at 120 and if I'm at 120, you're 200, I mean, what number works? Well, I don't know. Could we just meet in the middle? Does that make sense? I mean, like you're at your price, I mean, we're both not budging here. I mean, why don't we both just agree to meet in the middle here? And that sounds pretty reasonable. A good amount of the time, there's like, yeah, that works for me. That's how you win in negotiations here. Unless you want to play all fairy tale unicorns and gumdrops and you want to make $1,000 per deal, just offer 174 and make $1,000 per deal and end up making 30 grand this year in profit. Like, hey, if you just want to get into wholesaling real estate to make 2K a month, I mean, go be my guest. But you're not here so you make a little chump change. You're here to make big boy money, big moolah. And the only way you do is by lowballing sellers. Now, that's the first method. What in the world do you do if the seller just says, give me a number? You're the one talking to me. You go spit me out a number. Okay, that's fair. Let's give them what they want. They want a number. We're gonna make it low, okay? We're going Flo Rida, Apple bottom jeans, boots in the Ferg, like low, 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 low. And if you're watching this and you don't understand that reference, you are probably obsessed with the number 6'7", and the brain rot has infested your entire brain, and I really got nothing for you here. If you hear the seller say, give me a number, and you wanna say 6'7", you're screwed. Like, the whole generation's done here. But basically, what I mean by this is we gotta go super low. And there's honestly two ways to give a lowball offer that I found that works really good. And they're both pretty much the same. So the first one is what I call a price anchor. And the second one is what I call my reverse price anchor. And basically, this is how you get motivated sellers to actually accept your crazy low offer. So the first one is your price anchor right here. So your price anchor is they say, well, give me a number, what price are you at? I like to pitch off a crazy low offer off the bat, but do it where I'm kind of defending myself at the same time if they think my offer is too low. So what I'd like to do on a price anchor is say, hey, Mr. Seller, in the perfect world, I would want to buy this property for around $120,000. Now you're gonna say, oh my gosh, that's way too high. Get out of here. No way, blah, get out of here. Now you can say, well, that's where I want to be in the perfect world. I always want to make the most money on my deals. I mean, what number works for you? And then you can negotiate from there, right? That's okay. Some sellers still get very, very, very upset at you for doing this, and they blame you and they might kick you out of the house or hang up on the phone. So another good way is what I call the reverse price anchor. Now, the way that price anchor works is you attach yourself to the anchor, and if someone's mad at the anchor, they point to whoever threw it, which is you. So you threw the anchor, and they're gonna be mad at you. I know you just lowballing me, and they get really upset because you threw the anchor. What you wanna do with the reverse price anchor is you have somebody else throw the anchor. And what I mean by this is you wanna blame somebody for the lowball offer, but you also wanna make sure that you are still the decision maker here. And basically what I mean here is I'll go like, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, I was talking to my partner Rick here, and he said he was looking to buy the property for around $120,000. And basically, the whole point is seeing their reaction to it. Now they might say, oh my gosh, that's way too low. I would never take that. That's okay. Rick's crazy. He always wants to buy the property for the lowest price. That's why I'm here. I'm the decision maker. I was just mentioning what he was saying to me. But obviously $120,000 don't work, and I obviously get that, but I mean, what number works for you? And basically you can negotiate from there. I prefer the reverse price anchor a lot more than the price anchor. You just gotta make sure the reverse price anchor is actually a real person, like a partner, cash buyer, friend, or whatever like that. That is how you effectively give a good lowball offer. Now, the second question is, well, how much do I offer somebody? What is a good lowball offer generally? Well, I mean, my general rule is there are two types of acronyms for offers, right? Everybody knows MAO, right? What's MAO? That's your max allowable offer, right? Your maximum allowable offer. But there's also something else that me and Rick devised called the LAO. Now, what the LAO is what we call the least allowable offer. So the max allowable offer, let's just do a general number here. Let's say the max you can offer on this deal is like $170,000, right? That's exactly the most a cash buyer will take on this specific deal. Okay, so if a cash buyer will buy this deal for $170,000, what is the least I can offer without the person trying to kick me in the nuts? Well, what I found is a simple rule. This is my equation. It is MAO multiplied by 0.7 is equal to your LAO. That is a general rule how much you should offer off the bat. So your first offer should be at least 70% of what your MAO is at a minimum. So that means on a deal like this, you should probably offer roughly $120,000 on this deal. That should be your initial lowball offer. Now, is anybody in here opposed to making $50,000 in wholesaling? I don't think so. That's exactly how much you should offer on these lowball offers. Now, the real question is, once you give this offer, if somebody is mad, if they're upset, they're angry at you, why in the world are they mad at you? Well, let's kind of go over exactly what makes a seller tick and what makes a seller mad and how we can avoid that in wholesaling. Now, for most people, if you give a lowball offer and they're mad that, hey, that's a low offer, most likely why they're upset at you is because you honestly framed the offer wrong. See, if you just say, I'll buy your house for 120K without any framing or conditioning or anything like that, yeah, they're gonna be super upset at you. Like, you're cooked, it ain't gonna work at all. So what you should do here is basically frame it right. So you do a reverse price anchor, a price anchor, maybe you lowball off of their crazy high price, and you might frame it like, why don't we meet in the middle, right? You basically say, well, I mean, do you want more money? Because if you want more money, you can use a realtor, pitch them to go use a realtor, make sure they understand they gotta pay 12% basically, with all the closing costs roughly, or you just follow up with them. Now, if they say, yeah, we can do more money, okay, well, I mean, we can go a little closer to the MAO, I guess. So, for example, again, if a seller is at 200K, you're at 120, you offer to meet in the middle at 160, and they say, no way, Jose, I need to be at 180. Well, then you could say, well, I mean, could we do 170? And if our MAO is 175, I mean, we could make $5,000. I mean, it's not the end of the world here. But if they're like stuck at a price that's above the MAO, there's nothing much we can do here. But if MAO is 175 and they're like, well, I have to do 180. I'm like, well, I mean, the lowest I can go is 170. Like, that is bare minimum. And they say, okay, fine, we'll do it. Okay, make $5,000, whatever, right? Let's say deal with someone that's giving a crazy, crazy, crazy low offer and they're upset with that. I mean, you can always go above it, right? So if your MAO is 170, you offer 120 and they're like, well, that's way too low, I gotta be at 140. You could go to 140 and make the $30,000. I'm not upset you only made $30,000. It's really up to you and your decisions here. Now, honestly, what I'll tell you too, if you have the partner there And like the husband's like, yeah, I'll take it all day. But the wife's like, how dare you? Rah, 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 and they're angry, right? It's like the partner being mad. So it could be the PR on a probate, the personal representative, right? The other heirs on the deal, the wife, etc. Sometimes the seller won't go with your offer, not because your price is good or bad. Maybe the price is fine, but I found sometimes that the wife or the other siblings, they don't feel understood or felt like they got any care, right? Some wholesalers will only talk to the husband and they won't even talk to the wife or build any rapport with the wife. So when you give an offer and the husband goes talks to the wife about should we do this or not, the wife's like, I don't like this guy. I don't trust him. And the reason is because you only focused on the husband. Even if the husband's, he's the only person who's on the deed. So this happens a lot where like the guy owns the house and like his girlfriend's living with him, but they've been dating for like a couple years. You got to make the girlfriend happy. You got to build some rapport with her too. Talk about her Labubu dolls or something. I don't know what these kids are into these days, but like do something like that to make them feel understood or loved. Again, if you get an absolute no and they're not upset over the price, maybe because they just don't trust you and you got to go back to the rapport. But overall, guys and gals, if you're here to lowball a seller, right, the best thing you can do is actually get them to accept your lowball offer now. The best thing you can do is get them to spit out a number and then you lowball from there, negotiate from there, hopefully meet in the middle or below that. Or you do a price anchor or a reverse price anchor. Make sure you're offering at least 70% of the MAO as your LAO, your least allowable offer, and you'll start lowballing people and making a ton of money in wholesaling. So guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, join my free real estate wholesaling course and community, freewholesaling.com, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.